You're 28 when you finally ask yourself the question you've been avoiding for a decade. Why does every dollar that comes into your hands leave just as fast? You're not lazy. You're not stupid. You work 45 hours a week at a job that pays fine. And still, every bonus, every tax return, every extra you ever get vanishes within weeks. Meanwhile, your old college roommate, Priya, who started with nothing, now owns 2 rental properties and hasn't touched her day. Job's paycheck in over a year. It just sits there growing. The difference doesn't make sense to you. Until the night you finally ask her, over coffee, what do you know that I don't? She doesn't answer with a stock tip. She answers with a question of her own. What did your parents say about money growing up? You think about it. Money doesn't grow on trees. We can't afford that. Rich people are greedy. You heard those lines 1,000 times before you turned 10. You remember your dad's jaw tightening every time a bill came in the mail. You remember the shame of asking for new shoes and being told to wait. That's your blueprint, Priya says. Every belief you have about money got installed before you ever earned a cent. From what you heard, what you watched your parents do, and a few sharp moments that stuck. It runs quietly in the background of every financial decision you make. It's not that you don't have money. It's that you were never taught to keep it. You sit with that. Your thoughts create your feelings. Your feelings drive your actions. Your actions produce your results, and somewhere at the very start of that chain is a script you never chose. You decide right there to rewrite it. Not by wishing, but by 4 deliberate steps. Notice the belief when it shows up. Trace it back to where it came from. Choose whether it still deserves a seat at your table and declare, out loud, uncomfortably, who you're choosing to become instead. That's the beginning. What comes next are 17 lessons, each one taught to you not in a classroom but in a moment. Chapter 1. Who you're becoming. The first shift happens at work. Your project fails, a client pulls out, and the whole team scrambles to explain why. You catch yourself halfway through blaming the market, the client, the timing. Then you stop. What's my part in this? It's an uncomfortable question, but it's the only one that gives you any power to change what happens next. You start asking it every time something goes wrong, and slowly, you notice the people who keep moving forward are the ones asking that question, not the ones assigning blame. Around the same time, you notice you've been keeping every spare dollar in a savings account, telling yourself it's safe. Priya calls it playing not to lose. Rich people play to win, she says. They're not trying to avoid loss. They're trying to build something. You move a portion of your savings into your first index. Fund the next week. Not because you feel ready, but because you're tired of playing defense with your own life. You also catch the gap between wanting and committing. You've wanted to build something of your own for years, a freelance design business on the side, but wanting never once made you open your laptop after work. Commitment does. The night you stop saying someday and start saying Tuesdays and Thursdays, 8 to 10 p.m., the business stops being a daydream and starts being a habit. And every time you move forward, fear shows up right on schedule. The fear of pitching a client, the fear of raising your rates, the fear of looking foolish. You learn fast that fear isn't a stop sign. It's just noise that plays while you act anyway. Chapter. How you read the world. For years you've played small, not because you lack ability, but because some quiet part of you doesn't feel you deserve more. Priya explains it differently. You get paid in proportion to the value you deliver to the world. A designer who only takes one client at a time trades hours for dollars forever. A designer who builds a template library or a course can help and earn from 1,000 people with the same core skill. You stop hiding your work behind modesty and start sharing it loudly. You also stop waiting to feel ready. You used to spend weeks researching before starting anything, which, you realize, was just fear wearing a disguise. Instead of studying freelancing from a distance, you take on one small client badly and learn more in that one messy project than you had in months of reading about it. Somewhere in there, you notice your own resentment toward successful people quietly dissolving. You used to roll your eyes at wealthy entrepreneurs online. Now you study them, not with envy, but with curiosity. How did they actually get there? Admiration, it turns out, teaches you far more than judgment ever did. You start choosing your circle differently too, spending less time with people who complain about the economy and more. Time with people who are building things, even small things. And you stop forcing yourself to choose between a stable career and creative freedom. You build both, slowly, side by side, refusing to believe it has to be one or the other. Chapter. Your relationship with money. You used to be quietly embarrassed by self-promotion. Posting your work felt like bragging. But you come to see it differently. If your work actually helps people, staying quiet about it isn't humility. It's just inefficiency. You start sharing what you make, and clients start finding you. You also have to relearn how to receive. When a client compliments your work, your old instinct is to deflect. Oh, it's nothing. You train yourself to simply say, thank you. It feels strange at first. Almost too simple, but Priya was right. How you receive a compliment turns out to mirror exactly how you receive money. Help. You begin shifting from hourly pay toward results-based income, charging per project instead of per hour, so your income can grow with your skill instead of staying capped by your clock. And you stop watching your income alone and start watching your net worth. What you own minus what you owe. Two people can earn the same salary and end up in completely different places, depending on what happens to the gap between the two. You give every dollar a job, a simple split for investing, saving, giving, learning, and living, instead of letting your paycheck disappear into vague spending. It isn't about earning more yet. It's about finally managing what you already have. Chapter 4. The long game. There are setbacks. A client ghosts you mid-project. An investment dips right after you make it. The old you would have taken that as proof you weren't cut out for this. The new you asks a different question. What do I adjust? What do I learn, and what's my next move? The problem never defines you. Your response to it does. Bit by bit, you stop just working for money and start making your money work for you. Your small investments keep growing quietly in the background, whether you check them or not. When you get a bonus that year, you don't upgrade your lifestyle. You buy an asset instead. And you never stop learning. Every time an old belief tries to sneak back in, you're not good with money. This isn't for people like you. You treat it the same way you treated the very first one. Notice it, trace it, choose whether it still belongs, and quietly, deliberately, let it go. A year later, you sit across from a friend at the same coffee shop, listening to her complain about how her bonus vanished in a weekend. You don't lecture her. You just ask one question, the same one Priya once asked you. What did your parents say about money growing up?